Hello and welcome to another episode of Podcasting 101. And so today I really want to speak about the different ways of promoting your video podcast. And so I know there's a few things that people actually miss out on or they haven't thought about. And so I want to teach you some of the things that I do that's very different because I'm always talking and thinking about the long term of a podcast. Okay, now keeping in mind that I always say to all of my clients that when you're building a podcast, remember that it's an asset to your business, right? It's a digital asset that is combined with your business, which means it will add more value to your business. Okay, and so this is going to give you a very different insight as to how I really work with my clients and how I'm really thinking of podcasting in the long term, because it's a way to leverage yourself to build out your brand, but also to ensure that you're leveraging your entire business with having a podcast that's attached to your business. And because we all know that video works and video is huge, this is why I always push to say if you're going to start a podcast, make sure it's a video podcast, because you'll be able to leverage it so much more and it's going to be worth so much more within your podcasting and within your business if you have videos that are attached and not just audio. And so first of all, when you're promoting it, make sure that you're telling everyone, right? Don't keep it a secret. A lot of people like to keep it a secret until it's like out there and it's launched. No, as soon as you start thinking about putting a podcast together, start telling your audience, right? In fact, bring your audience along on the journey with you. What I mean by that is when you start creating your podcast cover or even thinking about your podcast name, right? Instead of you trying to do all the work, right? Trying to figure out the smartest way to sound, the right words to say, I want you to ask your audience. Right? Ask them, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever platform that you're using that has the most people that are following you. I want you to go and ask in that platform and say, hey, I'm thinking about starting a podcast and I'm thinking about a few names. I've got these as examples, and you can put like 3 or 4 out there and see what your audience actually like. Remember, they're the ones that are going to be listening to this. So you want to get their advice, their opinion to make sure that you're creating the right podcast for them. So make sure that you take your audience on this journey with you, because what you're also doing is drumming up intrigue, interest. So when your podcast then finally drops, you're already going to have a huge group of raving fans that have been waiting because they've been on this journey with you. The next thing you want to consider is when you're launching, right? Think about having a podcast launch party. Like, make it into an event, make it into a big thing, right? And so when you have a launch, you want to make sure that you actually treat it like it is an event. You want to start telling everybody when it's going to be out, when, what dates, what times, so they know when to expect it. They'll be ready for your episodes to drop. And in fact, it's at the launch, right? When you actually launch your podcast that week, and it should be a week-long launch, that week is when you're going to get the most downloads, the most listeners. So make the most of your launch, okay? And turn it into a party and let everybody know, like put it all over social media, send it to your email list, like make sure you scream and shout about it. Now, the other thing I want you to consider is having a separate podcast website. You're like, wait, hold on a second. Why do I need a separate podcast website? Now, remember what I said to you earlier, right? It's about the long term, right? And when you have different domains, when you have several domains in your business, when you have a podcast attached to your business, it actually brings the value of your entire business up. Remember, domains are digital assets. A podcast is a digital asset. Okay, and so if you have different websites attached to your business, right, including having a podcast website, then it actually raises the value of your entire business, not just your podcast. And so it also gives people another place to go to learn more about you and what you do. This also has a huge effect on when it comes to SEO. All right. And so what you can do is have a separate website. Now, you can get someone to build it for you. right? But I'm not much of a techie person, honestly, right? I don't like learning all this tech. Then I didn't want to learn how to create a whole new website, and it's a big job. And so I actually use a different platform that helps me create it and helps anybody because it does all the coding in there for you. And so I came across this platform that was created, right, to create websites for podcasters especially. And the person that created it actually worked for Google for 20 plus years and understands SEO and did all the coding in the background. So guess what? We don't have to, okay? So it's just a matter of getting that all set up, and they have templates. Like, they make it super, super easy because they know podcasters are podcasters. We're not website designers, right? And we're not going to be spending all of our time trying to figure that out. And so he's created this platform, and it's one of the best platforms out there in the podcasting industry, and I absolutely love it. And I haven't gone anywhere else. It's so easy. You can add your own branding in there. You can set it up the way you like, and you can have it released out there so quickly. And what I've done is actually put the links in the show notes. So go ahead and grab that link so you can start creating your own podcast website. And the customer service on this platform is unbelievable, right? How to attach your domain to this site, like all those little bits and pieces. They've got a whole video support section in there so you can check out how you can do all of those. And they do it step by step. So it's very clear, it's really easy, and you just follow the steps and you can get it done so quickly. So once you've got all those things set up and you start producing your episodes and you have them released, I want you to start thinking about putting promotion out there on social media, right? Creating like a newsletter, creating blogs for every single one of your episodes, right? The more stuff that you have out there and the more that you can actually repurpose and leverage your video podcasting to get more eyes on it, to get more ears on it, this is where the magic happens, okay? Now, as you are producing your episodes, you're going to have call to actions on there. Getting people to sign up to your newsletter, getting people to download your ebooks, your freebies, whatever it may be. And that means as you build your email list that you're going to have to nurture them. And this is where newsletters come into it. This is the easiest way to make sure that you're nurturing your email list as you're building it, right? But also not having to think about all the different emails, all the different content, that you need to keep putting out there. So if you have a weekly newsletter that has different sections on there, that gives them all different types of information around your niche, around your topic, then this is the best way that people will be able to learn more from you so they can listen and watch your episodes and also receive information through their email about more on how they can actually work with you. You also want to start thinking about having social media video captions, right? So you've probably already seen these. And so it's like a 50 to 60 second video snippet of each episode. And you can then put them out on social media to give people a little taster, right? To give people a little kind of idea as to what each episode is going to be about, what they're going to learn, something that intrigues them, that interests them, that is going to make them want to go and listen to the entire episode. And you can start promoting each episode and having all these things out there before it even drops, right? Just to let people know, hey, this episode that we're going to be talking about is going to be dropping tomorrow. Let me give you a little teaser, a little taster of what's to come so they can be ready for when the episode is released. They know what's coming, and it gets them excited to want to listen to the entire episode. You may also want to consider doing things like quotes, right? Quote cards, having quote cards for each of your episodes so you can put that on social media as well. Right, writing blogs from each one of your episodes, which is really easy with so many different AI tools these days, where as long as you're recording the transcript with whatever platform that you're using, you want to make sure that you can turn those transcriptions into a blog. And there's so many different AI platforms out there that you can use that will do that for you. But then you want to consider making sure that you have a blog header and creating all of those kinds of things. Also, because it is a video podcast and you're going to be putting it on YouTube, you want to consider that you have a template created for YouTube thumbnails, right? Because that's going to also be needed when you post it up on YouTube. And so to recap, always have a separate website for your podcast. Okay, start talking about your podcast whilst you're building it with your audience to build up the intrigue. And then you want to consider making sure that you promote each one of your episodes every single week when it's released. And you should have one episode released every single week at the minimum. And you want to start promoting each of those episodes before it even drops, right? So people know what's coming. You also want to promote it during the release day, right? And then also after, in case anyone's missed it. And so you want to remind them that the episode has been released, so go and check it out. Okay, which is why it's so important when you have a video podcast to make sure that you're repurposing as many different ways as possible. You can do more of repurposing using a video podcast and having different video snippets, having quote cards, right? Having your episode cover out there, right? Reminding people constantly on social media that they can go and listen and learn different topics around your niche that you're going to be teaching about. This is going to help you build your authority, right? This is going to help you build your brand, be seen as the expert in your niche. And this is where you're going to start to build the know, like, and trust, because not only are they going to hear you, but your face is going to be everywhere as well, right? So you are the face of your brand. This is exactly what we want. And so this is going to be ways that you can leverage your knowledge, your expertise, and actually reach a broader audience. And make sure you go ahead and scroll down to go check out the show notes, because all the information is there, even the link to building this perfect, awesome podcast website for yourself and how easy it is. All that information is in there, so make sure you go and check it out. And I'd like to give you this gift because it's going to help you boost your entire setup for your video podcast. It's going to show you all the different things that you need to consider, so there's no gaps in between, and so it doesn't just fall flat. Okay, that you're actually going to be building the podcast the right way, right, in order for you to scale. And so all you need to do is go to 14daystolaunch.com and you'll be able to get the freebie from there. Start reading it, making sure you take the steps step by step as laid out in this freebie of yours, and start implementing straight away. Again, you just go to 14daystolaunch.com and you'll be able to get that information. You can start implementing and start building your video podcast the right way. And I look forward to seeing you in next week's episode where we talk about monetization. It's going to be a juicy one, guys. So I'll see you then. Thanks for listening to Make Your Mark podcast at www.makeyourmarkpodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get this and every other episode that comes out. We have lots of great stuff coming, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you in advance for all the reviews and comments. I appreciate it so much. And I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.